Hey, this is Matt Wallace, and this is my Twitch channel, and we're doing Music Quest. I'm glad to be trying this again, and the idea that a few people have followed since the last time we were on here makes me happy. We're a whopping 2 people away from having the goal of 50 followers. When you spend any time on Twitch and you see the numbers that some of these people have, it is quite laughable to think that it's difficult to get 50 followers. But I'm here and I asked, and luckily I have enough friends via Mother Merm, and yeah, we're almost there. The reason why that matters, in case you don't know about how Twitch works, is they have different levels, and the basic level is called affiliate, and you have to stream so many days, so many hours, you have to do this, you have to average so many viewers, and then you have to have 50 followers. So I think I've done all the other ones, and the last one is to get 2 more followers, so hopefully that will happen sooner than later. So I don't know, made a joke. It's not really a joke, but in the stream today, I announced that I didn't die. This last week, I had a heart cath procedure done to check on my heart, and that's a thing. And I am very, very happy to report that they found that my heart is in really good shape. So all the things that would have led to that kind of procedure are still there, and yet it's very good news to discover that I don't have any blockage, and whatever's going on is probably not my heart. So in case you wondered why the stream title was labeled like it was, so yeah, I didn't die this week. I'm happy to be here. So I'm still trying to get my feet under me regarding the stream, what we're doing, why we're doing. And I'm very, very happy to say that all 4 of the interviews that have been done so far have been incredibly enjoyable, fulfilling, positive in my estimation. And so that is probably the primary reason why we started this channel. This solo thing that I'm trying to do every Friday, I think is more of a discipline, something that I would like to figure out by doing. I don't have any problem at all enthusiastically talking to people about their love for music or just their lives in general. Talking to myself in this particular format is troubling. As a producer looking at the value of things, I find it very difficult to say this is the most compelling thing that one could do is sit here and talk. But I do know that there are people who do it quite well. It's doable, and it's interesting for me. The way I learn things is by doing. And so if people look at this and go, that's not particularly compelling, I might be right there with you. However, this particular part of the quest is not music specific, but it is part of me trying to learn by doing stuff. So if you watch this after the fact, God bless you. I hope that you find something interesting in here. And at the same time, if you happen to be lurking or showing up or hanging out online before I can realize that you're out there, welcome anyhow. I have to look at a couple of different things when I'm evaluating what I might be covering on one of these solo streams. Something that I'm personally interested in, and possibly something that others might be interested in. And so we'll see if that ends up being the case. I did ask Mother Merm if she had any ideas and suggestions of things that I might discuss or cover on these kind of streams. And I think one of her ideas is, well, I didn't say, one of her ideas caught my attention more than the others. Let's say, because I'm not going to say the other ideas weren't good. I'm just saying the one that caught my attention was possibly going over, sharing, documenting some of my early life's experiences regarding music, and maybe kind of some of the background that led me to being the person I am today, someone who would want to do this Music Quest thing. So that seemed to make sense. It's relevant. I think it goes along with, at some point, I've discussed the possibility of someone else on Music Quest interviewing me. So it might be kind of redundant. But at this point, if we just kind of keep it early days type stuff, that might be of, spending a little bit of time documenting. So I want to do that today. The other thing I was going to do is very briefly talk about and point to the interviews that we've done so far. And like I said, I've got a whole bunch lined up, and our schedule is getting ready to create a little bit of a problem, because Mother Merm and I are going to be away. We're going to be overseas for a little bit, and I won't be streaming for right under a couple of weeks. So I anticipate there being a lot of interviews right after when we get back. So between now and then, we've got maybe one or two lined up. But what's happened so far, I have been super blessed and have really enjoyed the opportunity for me to interview some delightful people. So let's just start. Let's do them in order in which they happened. The first interview we did was with a guy named Andy Patterson. I went to college with him. He is actively living out a life very music oriented. He's a middle school band director, but as long as I've known him, he is synonymous with music and making music, and his whole entire background and family was and is tied to music, making music, composing music, performing music, teaching music. And so that interview with him, we covered some stuff, a lot of projects he's worked on, some fun stuff he's done, and just talked about history. So I find that he's a trumpet player, and he composes. I'm sure he does a lot more than that, but I mean, we had some fun music background, recorded some stuff early on back in the 80s, and did a couple of different projects. He's just a good dude. But that's a look at, I would classify him as somebody who is very serious about the music, is clearly front and center in his life. And I would recommend checking out that interview. It was my very first one, so there were some technical challenges on my part, things not quite like I want them to be, but I think it's still translated. I think you could definitely see, kind of get a little bit of glimpse of who the guy is. So there's that one, Andy Patterson. That was the first interview. And then the next one we did was with Denise Lee. Now, interestingly enough, just got off the phone a few minutes ago with the guy that introduced me to Denise Lee. And Denise is in the Dallas area, and she is an actor who is also an excellent performer, singer. And we met each other through producing a film. And we talk about that. And then we talk a lot about her performances and some of the stuff and where our paths have crossed in the past. But she is a very gifted artist. She is engaged in her community and her life and things that matter. And she and I spent some time just talking through some of that. And it was a lot of fun. So she does cabaret. She encourages that particular form of entertainment, and has kind of made that her own in the Dallas area. So she's performing a lot. She does a lot of different things. So music and acting. So we kind of talked through that, and that was just a lot of fun. She was fun to talk to. The third interview we did was with the guy who goes by Soul. He's a young guy who happens to be the son of someone I met back in 1998. And just got introduced to this young guy this last year. And he's got his own music quest in the beginnings. He's spent a lot of time overseas, and my first initial, I guess it's kind of redundant, but my initial engagement with him was when he and a friend of his from Malawi were looking for some advice on some music production stuff. And his father hooked them up with me, and then I started interacting with them, and then I became interested, and then he moved, the Soul moved, and so I was looking through my list of people I wanted to interview, and noticed, became very cognizant of the fact that a lot of the people I was going to interview were closer to my age or older, who had pretty significant music backgrounds, involvement, history, stuff to talk about. And there was something about Soul that I was fairly confident that he would be a good interview. So we did talk about music and how we got to know each other, stuff like that, and what kind of drives him creatively. But he doesn't have a lifetime's worth of music behind him. It's in front of him. So we had a nice chat. He's in Guatemala. And it was fun. I enjoyed talking to the guy. And like I said, the fact that so many of the people I'm going to be interviewing are closer to my age or older, it's nice to talk to someone on the younger side of things. I think he's 17, 18. I can't remember. He's still he's not in the university yet. So that was fun. So check that out. I will, I got to do a better job of finding let's see, put it in the chat window. Do this. The website where a lot of this stuff is documented is musicquest.jmatwallace.com. Now this channel is JMWallace, but I have a website, JMatWallace.com. And in one of the interviews we talked about it, and I think it was with Denise, we were talking about trying to come up with unique names. I'm keenly aware that J. Matt Wallace can come off as a little pretentious, but it's practical because in the International Movie Database, IMDb, the website, there are a ton of Matt Wallaces. So if you do a search on Matt Wallace at IMDb, there's a bunch of people come up. But if you do a search on J. Matt Wallace, I'm the only one that comes up. And that's the reason why I started going by that, because I wanted that unique thing. So, but the website is jmatwallace.com, but the front part of it's musicquest.jmatwallace.com. That's where I'm posting all the stuff related to Music Quest. So we posted some of that stuff out there for Soul. Well, all the interviews are out there. And so I just wanted to make sure you kind of knew where to find that, because we talked through some of that as well. But the last interview we did, I did it last Saturday. and it was a young lady named Hadley Ann Kibbe. And I had first met Hadley Ann when she was much younger, and before she was married, before she had so now she's a mom. She does rodeo. She singer-songwriter. She works at a university. She does all kinds of stuff. You know, she's married, has a family, and she still performs. And so she also was on the younger side of the spectrum, not as young as Soul, but nevertheless, those were the first four. She was as good of an interview as I thought she would be. Very focused, very capable, very nice, very engaged on multiple levels in seemingly healthy ways in her life. And in the midst of all of the activity, all the responsibilities of job and family and being a mom and all that kind of stuff, she still performs, which I applaud. And that's like the epitome of what I would encourage. So we interviewed her last Saturday, and that is out there as well. So if you go to the website, musicquest.jmatwallace.com, you'll find those interviews and the cleaned up versions, mind you. I still make plenty of mistakes in these live things. I'm trying, like, for example, just doing this one, still one more opportunity to practice hitting the right buttons. I've done production work almost my whole life, but every time there's a new system that you're working with, there's always something you got to get used to. This is fundamentally different than trying to run the stream for Mother Merm, in that she's primarily focused on the content and I'm helping facilitate it. But when you're trying to create the content and do it all, kudos to all the streamers out there on Twitch that do this so effortlessly looking. It's not effortless, but they make it look effortless. I don't feel like it's effortless yet. So once again, I just want to take a few minutes and point you to those and let you know that that's where you'll be able to find future interviews. I realize that the audience right now is small. I don't have any illusions as to the size of the audience, but I do appreciate it. If you happen to be lurking right now and listening in on this, and have a Twitch account and haven't followed, you could help push me over the goal. I think I'm sitting at 48 followers right now, and it would be really, really nice to break 50. So, yeah, I'm looking at 48 followers. I need 2 more followers before we get the affiliate. I think it's the affiliate. Let me look. Let's see. Achievements. Yeah, affiliate is what I'm trying to get right now. And this is really interesting. It's interesting to me. If I'm looking at my channel right now, it says I have 48 followers, but according to the achievements page, I only have 46 followers. So I've been telling you the wrong thing this whole time. I need 4 more followers to make affiliate. And so, there you go. Go tell some friends. Drag some. Go make not a fake account. That sounds wrong. Go make an alternate ego account. And then you too can, both of your accounts can follow me and help me with my numbers. So, thanks for being here. Talk briefly about the Music Quest website and where you can find the previous interviews that have been cleaned up. And those were 2 of the things I wanted to go over today. One of the things that I think most people who would ever find me know about is the fact that my wife, Mother Merm, is an excellent singer. One of the things that some people don't know about is the fact that she has a YouTube page where we've published some of the songs in the past. See, pull it up. It's out on YouTube under Mother Merm. And yeah, those are quite fun to go back and we only published, there's one full live stream that we did a while back, and that gives people more of an idea of what a live stream is like. These are all different recordings that she did in the past. I need to add some more. Basically, we extract really nice performances out of the live streams and then try to post those out there. So another thing for anyone who might watch this who's interested, I've created a song list of my own, and it's obviously, I mean, I'm not singing, but what you can do is that on this page, you can suggest topics for discussion. And I'm going to switch to my streamer list. And basically what you'll find is if you click on that are a bunch of different topics. Let me zoom in so you can see a bit more. But these are different things that are out there that are just topics that I would want to talk about. Things that you might find interesting, just things to bring up. And when people do select them and make a song request, let me do this real quick. I'll just select one of these just randomly. So click Chiang Mai, Thailand. I'll add that to the queue. Oh, it's not active. Huh. Is that active? Yeah, it's active. So when it's this is in the list, then you can see down below that the title says Chiang Mai, Thailand, not requested by anybody. Oh, and also this affiliate follow thing has a totally different number than, let's see. Oops. Got to get back to this thing. Forgot what screen I was on. So, like this says 39. That's Streamlabs giving that number. And so Twitch is saying I have 48 followers now. So that's interesting. So there's all kinds of discrepancies going on here. I haven't ever figured out how they do their counting, their number crunching on Twitch, because it never seems to add up to what seems to be on the screen at any given time. So if you just followed recently, let me see. Thank you. But it doesn't look like anybody's followed except for in the last 6 hours. So anyway. All right. So there you go. I got you up to speed on how you would make a request to talk about something of interest. I'm going to delete that off of the queue so it's not sitting out there, since I'm the one that clicked on Thailand and you didn't. Anyway, the idea that I was presented as something to maybe talk about from the past is my early years regarding music and art and that kind of thing. So I'm focused on music primarily. I think the earliest I remember music-wise was playing guitar. When I was quite young in elementary school, I have this recollection of a really fancy-looking guitar that I think it had a lot of like Western-looking inlays and stuff. And I was given that guitar, or I was borrowed, or something to that effect. And I would go up to the elementary school, which happened to be like 2 blocks away from where I lived. And I would, this is back when kids, really young kids, would walk around town by themselves. I'd walk to school early in the morning. I think school started at 8:30. We'd get there about 8 or so, and we would play our guitars. The music teacher, we would all get together and practice playing guitar. I don't remember much about the mechanics of it. I think she would basically say, this is the song we're going to do. Here are the chords. And then we would all just play along. Mainly strumming, we're talking little kids here. But playing the guitar early on. And I don't think I did it in first grade or second grade, but I think by third grade we were doing it. I was doing it. My parents can probably remember more accurately than I can, but at some point, I remember some guitars were stolen, and this guitar was left up at school. I think this is all really hazy, but that guitar was stolen, and I got a replacement. And I think it's the harmony guitar that I still have. And over the years, I'm going to shoot forward way into the future. That harmony guitar was one of the very first guitars we used when we were recording. And over time, it seemed to become evident that it was a really good recording guitar, considering the fact that it was $100 guitar. But I got that guitar back then, and I kept playing. And I think by 5th or 6th grade, there was another guy that was doing this with me, and we were pretty good for our age. I did thumb picking, so we could do kind of lead lines, sort of, but thumb picking where you're running the bass along with the strumming, and it sounded pretty good. So the two of us together. One would play rhythm, the other one would play lead, and then flip-flop. And I remember as a young kid, there was a performance where we performed in front of the whole town. And it was cool. It was a big deal. I don't remember what we played. But it was all kind of country-based. A lot of the music I learned early on, my father taught me. And to the best of mine, I think the very first song I ever learned how to play was Folsom Prison Blues. So many artists play that song. It's definitely a standard. But he taught me to play the songs that he was taught, I think, by his father when he was young. So I tended to play some really old kind of country-based stuff and enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun, gratifying. But what was interesting, I think I've told this story before as well, but at some point I remember thinking, okay, learning more about it. So I was, quote, good for my age. But then you started realizing that real guitar players use bar chords. So you basically lay your left index finger across all of the strings, hold it down, and then you play chords in front of that, and you can do that. You have to. That's what guitar players do. As a little kid, I wasn't taking guitar lessons or anything like that, and there wasn't anybody there to really teach me. But at some point, I realized that I couldn't do it, and no one was there to point out to me that, first of all, I was a little kid, so my hands weren't super strong. Second of all, the action on the guitar I was playing was really high. Like, to do a bar chord on this guitar would be difficult for an adult guitar player. And then on top of that, nobody was there to tell me that you could put lighter gauge strings on the guitar. So at some point during the end of my elementary school years, I decided that I couldn't play the guitar anymore because I couldn't do a bar chord properly. And unfortunately, that was just because I didn't know any better and nobody was there to tell me different. So I can still play the guitar at that level, like a little kid. Play, occasionally I'll do something, but it's not fun to play the guitar if you don't have any calluses. And to get calluses, you got to play the guitar. So it's definitely a kind of a vicious cycle thing. So, so early on, I played the guitar. I don't remember how much singing I did with it. Also, in elementary school, I started taking piano lessons. And if I remember correctly, there was a time where my mom would literally drive me to the next town over, like 25 miles over, to take these lessons. I don't remember how often I ever had lessons in my hometown. But at that point, I learned how to play kids stuff, simple sheet music. I mean, I think Nadia's theme, Nadia Comaneci, was, famous Olympian at that time. I think she scored a perfect score in gymnastics, and I think that's also the same song that was used as the theme for The Young and the Restless or whatever. But it's a really pretty simple song, and I learned how to play it. And I could play the Baby Elephant Walk and the Entertainer, and so I learned how to read music and play the piano. But I didn't stay with it, and I don't know that I was ever good at it or really wanted to be good at it. But I understand how pianos work, and I understand how to read music, just not so much. I took piano in college. I took one semester, and was reminded why I don't play the piano. But it was fun. Early on, I also was singing in choirs. So by the time I was in 7th and 8th grade, I was a choir boy. I was in singing groups. And I remember, I think it was in my 8th grade year, maybe. We did a song by the Doobie Brothers called Black Water, and I sang the lead on it. And it was a 4-part harmony, and it was a very popular song at the time. We were all excited because there's a prominent fiddle part in that, a violin part in that song, and we had the Grand Master of the Midland Symphony Orchestra or whatever. He played that while we did our song, and that song went really well. Hey, Mother Merm, I'm glad you got on, so thanks for doing that. So, what had happened is by this time in my life, I had been in choir. I had played the guitar, played the piano. I quit playing the guitar. I still played it some, but not trying to be a guitar player anymore. And I think I had pretty much stopped piano lessons by that time. And by this point in my life, I was in choir. And I was one of the leaders. I can't remember what titles I had in in middle school. But the thing is I think it was the 8th grade. We sang this one song, Black Water, by the Doobie Brothers, and it was in front of everybody. It was some sort of, I don't want to say competition, but it was some sort of musical event. And the group I was with, I remember it was Greg Downing, and it was Lene Criswell and Romaldo Falcon. I think that was the group. And we did this song, and I sang lead. It went really well. It was a lot of fun. And from that point on, our school, I think I graduated with like 175, 178, something like that. So we didn't have a very large school, but it was a few people in it. I was known as a singer because of that one event, even though I'd been in choir. But that was something everybody thought, oh, he can sing. Now, to be fair, that's not a particularly difficult song to sing. The range is very limited. There's nothing in that song that requires a lot of vocal talent, other than being able to stay on pitch, which I could do. And so I that stayed with me. And by the time I graduated from high school, I was the president of the a cappella choir, the top choir. And interestingly enough, by that senior year, I was voted who's who in music. And I think that only proves that was a very low bar. So, but I mean, yeah, I'd been involved in music, and like I said, I was the president of that, of the choir. So, yeah, I guess that makes sense. But it wasn't until I got to college did I start bumping into really talented musicians and realize, it's all relative. That's how talented you are. So that is pretty much my early days musical background, except I got to add something to it. Related to my musical background, I think it's fair to say that my parents, or my dad at the time, and then later my mom, but my dad was a planetarium director. And I don't know how many of you have been in planetariums or remember that, but it's an inside star ball that projects the stars on the ceiling inside. And it's like being able to look at the stars without having to be outside or worry about clouds or anything. And it was very, very cool place. And the people who run or do those, they usually have shows, or they help people understand more about astronomy, and then they produce shows. And at that time, a lot of the shows were created originally by the planetarium directors. So you didn't go out and just you could go buy shows from other planetariums, but my parents and my dad, together, they would create these original shows where you would have a script, and then you would do a soundtrack behind it, and you'd have all these projectors, and you'd show imagery and then combine it with the stars and lighting. And it was really cool. Multimedia event, if you will. But part of what would happen with that is that you would do these recordings with the voiceover, the narration, if you will, and then you would take music and you would put it behind it. So there was this production mindset you had to have to understand what's the best music to put with this show. And I got to be involved with that from an early age. I guess 14, 15 years old. And so that was part of the production background that I had as well. So that was early on a different angle on music as well. So that part is actually probably stuck with me as much or more than any of the other stuff. I don't sing, don't play, only when it's useful for whatever I'm trying to do at any given time. It's usually much better to have somebody who can actually play do that. So that's my background. That's kind of the early years regarding music, and kind of the foundation upon which my interest in background music is. I think my cousins down here where I live now, I remember them always singing and always being, singing, for special events, holidays and stuff like that. I think that's about all I remember. I think that's all I can share. So if anybody's been listening to this and has any questions or any comments or anything to add, now is the time to type them into the chat window. Otherwise, my wife was pleasantly nice. That's a good background. Thanks, babe. I appreciate the encouragement. So, that was my plan for today. I would, if there's anybody out there that is willing to say anything along the lines that would be encouraging to me to know that somebody is paying attention at any level, that would be great. So I don't think I want to go any further than that right now. So, what do you got, Mother Merm? Talk to me. Theremin player. Thanks for showing up, man. I don't know how much of that you heard. If you got any comments, questions, let's talk about what you want to talk about, man. The whole fact that I grew up in a planetarium, I think at some level, would explain why I love listening to you play. It's very spacey sounding. It's the perfect instrument for a planetarium is the theremin, I think. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear your mom's not feeling well, Merm. So yeah, maybe we'll give out good vibes and prayers for Dixie's mom, who is not here today. So yeah, theremin player. That's why I think I have a little bit of an affinity to listen to you play. I put it on the background and just kind of let it ride. Yeah, no problem. Like I said, there's nothing pressing going on here. Like I said, to recap for those who might be showing up later, talked a little bit about our previous interviews, talked about the website, once again, a little bit about the intent of Music Quest, the fact that I've got my own song list that you can pick from a topic standpoint. Make sure nobody's entered anything in there. And then told a little bit about my early background regarding music. So that's where we're at. And at this point, I'm just reading chat messages. So I don't pretend that this is going to be the fastest track to getting. I guess there's no fast track to it. Is what I'm trying to say. It's just a matter of you got to pull the trigger, you got to stream, you got to do your thing, learn what you can learn, make adjustments along the way. And at this point, getting the technology figured out and getting used to pushing all the right buttons as you're trying to carry on a conversation, that's where I'm at. I'm here, guys. If you have anything to bring up, do it. Otherwise, I'm going to be wrapping this thing up. I do want to encourage you to be aware. I think one thing to be in to put on your schedule is that next Thursday, if everything works out properly, I'll be interviewing a music industry executive out of Nashville, a guy that actually is from my hometown, but is a guy named John Mays, and I don't know how long our interview is going to be because he's a busy guy, but that's going to be next Thursday, I think at 2:30. Let me pull that up real quick, see if I can find my own calendar. Yeah, 2 p.m. Central Time, March the 2nd. That's next Thursday. So, yeah, keep that in mind. And he's a really, really talented, nice guy. And I'm pretty sure that he'll have perspectives, insights, things to share that will be different than a lot of the people I'll be interviewing in the future. I have piano players. I've got some people who've been doing their own bands for quite some time. I've got a really long list, actually. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I got a piano player that Miriam used to gig with. I've got a guy who has not been gigging very long, but singing and playing guitar-wise, her local guy. I got a guy from who is an internationally acclaimed classical guitarist that we met about 4 or 5 years, 6 years ago maybe. My sister-in-law is a retired band director who is an excellent musician. I just talked the other day to a guitar player out of Cincinnati that we met about 11 years ago. Very talented guy. He's got really good insights into the industry. A guy that my son used to gig with, just talked to him the other day. A guy that actually is a bassist who I used to buy music equipment from 30 years ago, who is a mastering artist. He masters albums. Here's a young lady who we met 5 or 6 years ago, who's a singer-songwriter, and she's in the general vicinity. I've got another ex-music executive, music industry executive, who hasn't done that for probably 40 years, but was back in the day, a guy we used to work with. Here's another music teacher, a young lady who went to school with my son. I'm looking at a list here with probably another 35, 40 names on it. And that's not including any musicians from on Twitch. So that's kind of where we're going. And that's where we're at. So theremin player, tell me something. Tell me how, well, let's just do this. This is the appropriate thing to do because, why not? If anybody pulls this up in the future, they need to go check you out. So there you go. That is a shout out. You deserve a shout out for showing up, is all I can say. If you have any questions, now's the time, bud. Lay something on me. I like it. So to let you know, I really like it when people ask me very, very difficult questions that are very, very hard to answer. I find that much, much better than a lot of the kind of questions that people ask. But you're welcome to ask anything. It would be, I feel like I'm just begging now. So let's not beg. That's not what we're here to do. So tell me about why marry Mother Merm? Well, the answer to that question, babe, is simple. I couldn't help myself. I can't. I just bought a headset microphone like the ones the drummers sing with. I used it last night. So much better experience streaming. I could see that. Given the nature of what you're doing, that makes sense. You're not singing with your theremin playing. I guess that's the right term. You're a theremin player, so that makes a lot of sense. Do you how much playing have you done with it? Have you only done like one stream with it so far? Have you found anything interesting about getting it positioned or getting in your way, or what brand did you get and all that kind of stuff? I'm interested in hearing that. Yeah, Miriam asked what mic. There's one other thing I was going to try. Let's see. Pull that up. Let's see. Let's see. It's a refurbished one from Sweetwater. I don't get anything from talking about how awesome Sweetwater is, but Sweetwater is awesome. Let's see. There you go. Yep, looks like a basic setup. So where do you get your stuff, theremin player? Like I said, we have a history of we've actually the Wallace family has actually walked around Sweetwater's headquarters and met a bunch of people there, and they're really, really good. So I just felt like I had to strain using shotgun mic. Yeah, handheld would seem like it'd be a real pain in the butt. Yep, I think you're on the right track there, bud. Yeah, the Fort Wayne, Indiana is where Sweetwater's located. That facility there. Have you ever been there, theremin player? I mean, that facility is Disneyland for people who are into gear. I mean, it is phenomenal. I don't know if if I lived that close, I would have been there a couple times as well. Their auditorium that they have, where they can emulate different venues, where basically they have a bunch of microphones in the room, and then they've got speakers all over the room, and then what they do is they turn on the emulation, and so when you talk, those microphones pick you up, and then it pumps the sound, the reverb, back into that room, so it sounds like you're in a cathedral or Albert Hall or wherever. It's incredible. Yeah, I think that'd be a lot of fun if we lived anywhere near there. I mean, that was like 11 years ago when we drove through there, but it's incredible. And the people there seem overqualified to do what they do, but they've been super responsive to us. We like them a lot. There are lots of other places we've bought gear from in the past that have been great, but yeah, that personal visit there was kind of hard not to remember and talk about. So good for them. Oh, cool. Makes sense. They have open mics there. So open mics would be performance, even though you may not be singing, you would be. So how exactly portable is a theremin? What is there anything in particular that's weird about your setup, or can you just plop the thing down and plug it in? And I don't even have any idea the outputs of a theremin. I got to see this. Setting up, let's see. I'm looking. Well, that's a document. That doesn't help me at all. I want pictures. Let's see. How does one hook up a theremin? Huh. They're still not showing me the backside of one of these. There's a backside of one. Let's see. I don't know who this guy is. Here, I'll pull this picture up so you guys can see it with me. So that's the backside of a theremin. It's just a regular output. You can zoom in. Nope. It's going the wrong way. It's supposed to be zooming in there, buddy. So, yeah. Is that pretty standard, theremin player? Oh, I should be reading. Wow. You got one for $50? Dude, I don't know that we really need one for $50. I would so get one of those. So, just for the record, if you see any really good deals like that, you need to let us know. Like I said, I don't know that we need one, but that would be cool. I'm assuming there are different qualities of these bad boys where I don't know anything about them. I don't know anything. Definitely a resurgence of interest in them. So, dude, if you hadn't showed up today, I would have had an even shorter stream. So, yeah, they're selling soft cases. Soft cases. Yeah. Yeah, we won't be doing that. Looking through all this stuff real quick. So this Moog one is, yeah, they're quite proud of their own, I think, from what I can see here. Huh. There's definitely a lot of different, oh my gosh. Some of these are not inexpensive. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, there seems to be quite a variety going on here. I don't think I've ever done this search before. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun, man. That's very cool. All right. Well, everybody, go check out Theremin Player. And Mother Merm is scheduled to be streaming this Sunday. Oh, hold it. I still never did the thing I was planning on doing. You guys have got to give me some feedback on this thing. Let me see if I can pull this up. All right, so here we go. Here's what I was going to do. And I meant to do this earlier, and I forgot because I got distracted. We got a phone call like moments before the stream, and I kind of lost my attention. So tell me about what you think about this. So one of the things I noticed about people who did talking streams, it was let me see if I can get this right. Got to make sure this makes sense. So I'm going to turn something on real quick. Let's see what happens. Turn that down. Nope, still. So people who do online streams and they're talking, it's less awkward if it has a little bit of music in the background. And so I downloaded a bunch of music from the sound libraries that I have, and stuff that I thought would not be overly annoying to be in the background. And so I'm looking at the levels. That looks like it's still awfully loud, even though I've turned it down quite a bit here. Comments? Is that annoying? Would that make it... It's distracting to you? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Maybe it's... Maybe the right kind of track? It's a little loud. So why can't I get this... Oh, look, that's the wrong... Why can't I get the right level here? There we go. It's still awfully loud. Why is it doing that? Oh, that's nice and loud. If I could pull this down, pull that way down. So, that's the idea. That's the experiment. So whether or not I should have just some general, really light music in the background to make it less raw. I have to admit, me just sitting here kind of helps chill me out a little bit. I think just one person music is fine. Oh, definitely. I would never have music behind a conversation. But if it's just me, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It just doesn't feel as awkward. And it kind of calms me down as well. So I guess it comes down to getting the right levels. So you guys can, I mean, I've got all of 2 people talking to me right now, which I thoroughly appreciate. Is that a good level? This is nice. All right. That's what I wanted to hear. Now I just got to have the discipline to remember to have this ready to go when I start up my stream and let that be in the background. I shouldn't get any strikes with this. What? We like you, Matt? I'm glad, but that just feels kind of awkward because I guess it's not to be assumed. We few too. Well, you got to admit, having 2 people to chat with is so much better than nobody being on here to chat with. And even if, you know, my wife has to say that she likes me in public, that I guess you can't assume that. Yeah, me and Theremin Player. God bless you for being here. I appreciate it. It's nice. It is. So you like my music selection? I downloaded, I forget how many different songs I downloaded off of my library. I think there's 2.2 hours worth of music that can play in the background without having to repeat. So stuff that I thought was kind of nice, kind of in the background. Huh. I think it's a good mood. Yeah, I like it too. I'm a little intrigued by these emotes that Mother Merm put up. I don't think I've seen any of those before. I don't think I've ever seen her use them before, so I'm sitting there looking at them. But see, if it's a Music Quest channel, it makes total sense. I could just sit here and not talk and listen to the very cool vibes going on in the background. Uh-oh. New song coming up. Totally different vibe, I bet. No telling. Oh, this is the electronic stuff, which is not necessarily my forte, but I think I like this song for whatever reason. All right, so I'm glad I remembered that, because I just now have to develop the discipline to remember to fire this up and use this in the future. I'm looking at the right volumes setting though, and yeah, that makes sense. Well, guys, this is, I guess, my third or fourth. I can't remember how many of these I've done now, but I'm going to keep trying to do these for a while. Maybe they'll be more enjoyable, less awkward. Thank you very much. I enjoyed talking about theremins and just the stuff that we have in common. And hey, see this right here? I'm going to have to do a screenshot on this thing where Mother Merm says, "We like you, Matt." I want to save that, cherish it. You guys have a fantastic day. I'm going to call it good. And don't forget the next Thursday. I'm going to have an interview. I may have some before then, but at minimum, I know that I've got this one guy lined up. Hopefully he can make it next Thursday. And then if everything goes well next Friday, I may not be able to get on because of things are going on with schedule. Thanks for showing up, Theremin Player, you too, Mother Merm, and anybody else who might have been lurking. You were appreciated as well. In the meantime, I do want to go back and tell you one last time, if you know of anybody that you could coerce into following my channel, I literally only need two more followers. Actually, let me go back to this thing and see what this says. Achievements, refresh. Yeah, according to Twitch, they're saying I only have 46 followers out of 50. I don't know what the discrepancy in there is, so let's just say I need 10 more followers, and no matter how you look at it, I would have made my stuff. I made my my goal. All right, guys, so in the meantime, you guys have a fantastic day. Hope to see you in the future, and God bless. I'm going to call this good for right now, so you guys take care.